The trap that caught the wrong HFY. The forest was quiet. Too quiet. Ethan stood still, listening. The purple leaf trees of planet Virex 9 did not move unless something was wrong. No wind. No birds. No insects. Just silence. That was never a good sign. He adjusted the strap of his old rifle and walked slowly toward the trap. It was a simple metal trap, handmade from scrap. Ethan used it only for small alien animals that roamed the forest at night. Food was hard to find on this forgotten world. Then the trap moved. Ethan froze. That was not possible. The animals here were small, weak, nothing strong enough to shake steel. The chain pulled tight. The ground shifted. Something was breathing fast. Ethan's heart began to race. He stepped closer. And then he saw her. Inside. The trap was not an animal. It was an alien girl. She was small, about his height when kneeling. Her skin was soft blue, glowing faintly under the twin moons. Long silver eyes stared back at him in pure terror. Her hands shook as she tried to pull free, but the metal jaws had closed around her leg. Blood dark and glowing dripped onto the ground. She stopped moving when she saw him, her breath caught. Human. The monster from the stories. Her mind screamed one thought again and again. He will eat me. She had heard the warning since childhood. Humans were predators. They hunted intelligent beings. They enjoyed pain. They ate flesh. She tried to scream, but fear crushed her voice. Ethan slowly raised his hands. Easy. Easy, he said softly. The alien girl did not understand his words. But his voice made everything worse. Low, calm, like a hunter speaking to prey. Her body shook harder. She closed her eyes. This is how I die. Ethan swallowed. This was bad. Very bad. He had never seen her species before, but he knew enough. Intelligent eyes, clothing. Fear. This was no animal. I didn't mean to. He whispered, more to himself than to her. He knelt down carefully, keeping distance. Every movement was slow, careful. The alien girl opened one eye. Why was he not attacking? Humans attacked first. That was the rule. She watched his hands, big, strong, covered in scars, hands that could tear her apart. Instead, he reached into his pack. She panicked. Heart slammed against her chest. She tried to crawl back, but pain exploded through her leg. She cried out, a sharp, broken sound. Ethan stopped instantly. Okay, he said. He pulled out a small metal bottle and rolled it gently across the ground toward her. Then he pushed a folded heat blanket after it. He leaned back. The alien girl stared. Food, water? Was he saving her for later? Her fear did not fade. It grew heavier. Ethan looked at the trap. The metal jaws were deep. Removing them wrong could kill her. He took a slow breath. This will hurt, he said quietly, though he knew she could not understand. He pulled out a small cutting tool and began working on the lock. Sparks flew softly as he cut through the steel. The sound made her scream. Alien soldiers would hear that. Ethan heard it too. His head snapped up. In the distance, faint lights moved between the trees. Drones. Alien drones. Damn it. Ethan muttered. If they found her here, they would not ask questions. They would kill him. And worse, they might kill her too. The alien girl saw his expression. Change. Fear. Real fear. The monster was afraid. That made no sense. The lock broke open with a sharp snap. The trap released her leg. She cried out and collapsed forward. Before she could think, Ethan caught her. The moment his hands touched her, her body went stiff. She expected pain. Instead, she felt warmth. Gentle pressure. Careful support. He lowered her slowly to the ground and wrapped the heat blanket around her shaking body. Then he stepped back. Far back, he stood between her and the approaching lights. The drones were closer now. The alien girl stared at his back. Tall, thin, alone. Standing in front of danger. For her mind struggled to understand. Why would a predator protect prey? Ethan looked over his shoulder. Stay quiet, he whispered. The drones hovered closer. Scanning. The forest held its breath. The alien girl clutched the blanket tightly. For the first time in her life, she questioned the stories, and for the first time that night, she wondered if the human was not there to eat her, but to save her. The creature who stood between her and the drones stopped. They hovered in the air, their red scanning lights cutting through the dark forest like sharp eyes. The sound they made was soft but deadly, a low hum that meant one thing: search and destroy. Ethan did not move. He stood still, his back straight, his hands slowly rising away from his weapons. The alien girl watched him from the ground, wrapped in the heat blanket. Her heart was beating so fast and hurt. Why was he not running? Humans were supposed to fight, or kill, or escape, but he did none of that. The lead drone moved closer. Its light passed over Ethan's face, over his chest, over his hands. The alien girl closed her eyes. If they detected her heat, her energy signal, she would be taken. Punished. Or worse. The drone paused. Ethan held his breath. His mind raced. If they scanned behind him, it was over. So he did the only thing he could think of. He stepped forward, one step. The drone reacted instantly, backing away slightly, weapons charging. Ethan spread his arms wider, making himself the largest target possible. The scan focused on him. Not her. The alien girl's eyes opened wide. He was lying to the machines, blocking them, risking his life for someone he did not know. The drones beeped softly. Then, after a long moment, they turned and drifted away into the trees. Silence returned. The forest breathed. Again. Ethan almost collapsed. He slowly lowered his arms and turned around. The alien girl was staring at him. Not with fear, with confusion. He knelt carefully, keeping distance, and placed the water bottle closer to her again. Then he pointed to it and nodded. She hesitated. Her people taught her that humans use tricks. Kindness was bait. Mercy was a lie, but her throat burned. Her body was weak, slowly shaking. She picked up the bottle. She smelled it. Safe. She took a small sip. Nothing happened. Ethan let out a quiet breath he didn't know he was holding. That's good, he said softly. She did not understand the words, but she understood the tone. The alien girl studied him now. His face was tired. His eyes were not cruel. They were sad, old, like someone who had lost too much. She touched her injured leg and winced. Ethan noticed. He pointed to her leg, then to his pack. Her body tensed instantly. No more pain. She pulled the blanket tighter around herself. Ethan stopped. He raised one hand, palm open, and slowly backed away. Then he sat on a rock a few steps from her, turning his body sideways, not facing her directly. A sign of peace. Minutes passed. The moons moved higher in the sky. Finally, the alien girl spoke. Her voice was weak and shaking. You did not kill me. Ethan blinked. He didn't understand the words, but he understood the meaning. He placed a hand on his chest. Ethan, he said. Then he gently pointed at her. She hesitated. Myra, she whispered. Ethan smiled softly. Myra, he repeated. Careful and slow. Her heart skipped. He remembered her name. That mattered. She looked at his trap line broken on the ground, then at her injured leg, then back at him. You hunt, she said quietly. Ethan nodded once. Yes. Her fear returned. For a moment. Then he shook his head. No, not you. He pointed at the trees. Small animal tracks. Food. Not people. Not her. Myra's world tilted. Everything she believed felt wrong. She looked at him and asked the question that had burned inside her since childhood. Why save me? Ethan did not understand the words, but he understood the feeling behind them. He thought for a moment, then pointed at her heart, then at his own. Because same, he said simply. Same. Myra felt something crack inside her chest. The forest was no longer silent, but for the first time, the sounds did not feel threatening, still. Danger remained. She knew the patrols would return, and when they did, humans would not be forgiven. She looked at Ethan. "You must leave," she said urgently. Ethan frowned. He did not understand, but he saw fear return to her eyes, different fear. This time, fear for him. That was when he realized something terrifying. Helping her was easy. Protecting her would change everything. When running became the only choice, did not forget. Even after the drones left, the ground still felt watched. The air was heavy, like something bad was waiting to happen. Ethan felt it in his bones. He packed fast. Too fast, Myra noticed. She struggled to stand, pain flashing across her face. Her injured leg shook under her weight. She almost fell again, but Ethan caught her before she hit the ground. She stiffened. Then she remembered. His hands were careful, not hungry, not cruel. She leaned on him, without meaning to. That scared her more than the trap. Ethan looked around. The drones would come back. They always did. Patrols never left a zone unsolved. He pointed deeper into the forest. "We move," he said. Myra did not understand the words, but she understood the meaning. Movement meant survival. They walked slowly. At first, Ethan supported her weight, adjusting his steps so she would not fall. Every snap of a branch made Myra flinch. To her people, the forest was death. To humans, it was shelter. That difference mattered. Suddenly, the ground shook. A deep sound rolled through the tree's engines. Myra's face went pale. "Hunters," she whispered. Ethan saw her fear and knew it was worse than before. This was not a normal patrol. This was a capture unit. He pulled her behind a fallen tree just as bright lights cut through the forest. Heavy footsteps followed. Tall alien soldiers moved between the trees, weapons ready. Ethan held his breath. One wrong move and it was over. Myra's mind raced. If they found her with a human, she would be marked as corrupted, traitor, weak, execution. Would be mercy. She looked at Ethan. He was calm, focused, ready. The soldiers passed close. One stopped. Its helmet turned slowly toward the fallen tree. The scanner began to charge. Ethan acted without thinking. He picked up a stone and threw it hard into the darkness. The sound echoed far away. The soldiers reacted instantly, moving toward the noise. Ethan did not wait. He grabbed Myra and ran. Pain burned through her leg, but she bit down and stayed silent. They moved fast, deeper into the forest where machines struggled to follow. Branches cut Ethan's arms. Roots grabbed at his feet. He never slowed. Behind them, alarm sounded. They were seen. They burst out of the trees and into a wide open valley. Moonlight washed over broken stone ruins, ancient, forgotten. Myra stopped suddenly. "No," she whispered. This place was cursed. Her people avoided it. Ethan did not know that. He only knew one thing. The valley had no cover. The soldiers would surround them. He made a decision. He lifted Myra onto his back. She gasped. This was impossible. Humans were not supposed to carry other species, but he did. He ran straight into the ruins. Energy shots flashed past them. Stone exploded around their feet. Ethan felt one blast hit his shoulder. Pain screamed through him, but he kept going. HFY. Humans endured. They reached a broken structure and fell inside. Dust filled the air. The soldiers stopped at the edge. They did not follow, Myra realized. Why too late? This place blocked. Sensors. Ancient alien tech. The hunters could not see inside. Ethan collapsed against the wall, breathing hard. Myra slid off his back. "You are hurt," she said softly. Ethan smiled weakly. "Still here," he replied. She did not understand the words, but she understood the meaning for the first time. Myra touched him first. She placed her small hand on his wounded shoulder. Human skin was warm. Alive. Real. "You should hate me," She said quietly. Ethan frowned. She pointed at herself. My people fight yours. Ethan was silent. Then he shook his head. Not today. Simple. Honest. Human. Outside, the soldiers argued. Orders were being sent. This was bigger than a rescue now. This was an incident. A human and an alien together. Mira felt fear rise again. Not for herself, for him. You must leave me, she said. Ethan looked straight at her. No. One word. Final. The forest howled outside. War was closer than ever, and neither of them could turn back now. The day a human stood alone, the silence inside the ruins did not last. A deep mechanical voice echoed from outside. Cold and sharp. Orders were being given. The hunters had called for backup. Ethan felt it. This time they were not leaving. Myra pressed her back against the stone wall. Her breath was shallow. This place was forbidden for a reason. Ancient ruins confused scanners, but they also trapped anyone inside. You cannot stay, she whispered. Ethan wiped blood from his shoulder and checked his weapon. Only 2 power cells left. Not enough for a fight. He looked at Myra. I'm not running, he said. She stared at him. Humans always ran or attacked. That was the rule. This one did neither. Heavy footsteps approached the ruin entrance. Shadows filled the broken doorway. Energy weapons hummed to life. A tall alien commander stepped forward. His armor was marked with symbols of authority. Human, the commander's voice echoed, amplified and cold. Step out. The female will be returned to her people. Mira's heart dropped. Returned meant punished. Ethan stepped forward before she could speak. No, he said. One word. The soldiers raised their weapons instantly. The commander paused. You protect an enemy, the commander said. You choose death. Ethan took another step forward, placing himself fully between Myra and the soldiers. Then choose me, he replied. Myra's breath stopped. He was offering himself. The soldiers hesitated. Humans were dangerous, unpredictable. Killing one could trigger consequences. The commander studied Ethan. Why? He asked. Ethan did not understand every word, but he understood the question. He pointed to Myra, then to himself. She's hurt, he said simply. That answer confused them. The commander narrowed his eyes. Your species destroys worlds, he said. You show mercy to one life? Ethan lifted his chin. Because we can. Silence filled the ruins. That answer carried weight. The commander lowered his weapon slightly. My people will judge you, he said. You will come with us. Myra grabbed Ethan's arm. No, she cried. The soldiers moved in fast. Restraints snapped around Ethan's wrists. Energy cuffs locked tight. Ethan did not resist. He only looked back at Myra. Stay alive, he said. She shook her head violently. This was wrong. He had saved her. Now he was being taken. The soldiers dragged Ethan away. The ruined doors sealed behind them, trapping Myra inside. She screamed his name. Ethan heard it once. Then the doors closed. The alien base was cold. White walls. Bright lights. No shadows. Ethan was pushed into the center of a large chamber. Alien leaders watched from above. Screens showed images of Earth colonies, battlefields, destroyed ships, evidence. Humanity is chaos, one leader said. You prove it. Ethan stood alone, wounded, restrained, surrounded. But he did not bow. You judge me for saving a life, he said calmly. A leader leaned forward. You saved an enemy. Ethan met their gaze. She's not my enemy, he said. She's just scared. That answer shook the room. Far away, Myra limped through hidden tunnels beneath the ruins. Ancient paths. Forbidden paths. She ignored the pain. She followed one truth. Humans were not what she was taught, and if she did nothing, the only human who proved that truth would die. Ethan felt the weight of the moment. This was not about him anymore. This was about what humans really were. The leaders exchanged silent signals. Your fate will be decided, they said. The doors slammed shut. Ethan stood alone in the white light. Unbroken. Outside the base, alarms began to sound. Someone was coming. The voice that was never meant to speak. Hey, the chamber was silent. Too silent. Ethan stood at the center, bound by glowing restraints. His wound burned, but he ignored it. Pain was nothing new. Waiting was worse. Above him, the alien council watched. Their faces showed no anger, no mercy, only judgment. One of them spoke. Human Ethan, the voice echoed, calm and cold. You are accused of interference, deception, and treason against galactic order. Ethan lifted his head. Treason? He said, I saved a life. A low murmur moved through the chamber. Another council member leaned forward. That life belongs to an enemy species. The voice replied. Your kindness caused instability. Ethan almost laughed. So kindness is the crime now. The room did not react. The council activated the screens around him. Images flashed, human ships firing, alien cities burning, worlds turned to dust. This is humanity, the council said. Destruction follows you. Ethan's voice was steady. This is war, he replied. Not who we are. The council did not answer. Instead, the main door opened. Guards turned. A single figure stepped inside. She was limping, bleeding, exhausted. Mira. Gasps filled the chamber. She should not be here. She was not allowed to speak. The guards moved to stop her. Wait, a council member ordered. Curiosity replaced control. Mira stood tall despite the pain. She looked small in the massive chamber, but her voice did not shake. He saved me, she said. The council turned to her. You were captured, one voice said. Your fear distorted judgment. Mira clenched her fists. No, she said. My fear told me the truth. She walked closer to Ethan. When I was trapped, I believed he would eat me, she continued. That is what I was taught. Ethan closed his eyes. But he did not, Mira said. He stopped the bleeding. He stood between me and death. The chamber grew restless. A council member spoke sharply. Humans manipulate. They pretend. Mira shook her head. If that is pretending, she said, then we do not understand strength. Silence fell. She turned to Ethan. He could have left me, she said. He chose not to. She turned back to the council. If humans are monsters, she said slowly, then why did he accept chains so I could be free? That question hit harder than any weapon. The council exchanged long looks. One finally spoke. Human. The voice said, would you do it again? Ethan looked at Mira. She met his eyes. Yes, he said. Every time. The chamber reacted. Not anger. Shock. That answer carried something rare. Choice. The council's leader stood. This trial was meant to confirm hatred, the leader said. Instead, it revealed doubt. The guards lowered their weapons slightly. Outside, distant alarms echoed. Other systems were watching now. The leader continued. Humanity is feared not for its power, he said, but for its refusal to follow. Expectation. Mira breathed out slowly. Ethan felt the restraints loosen. Your actions will not be punished, the leader declared. They will be remembered. The cuffs released. Ethan almost fell. Mira caught him. This time, she did not hesitate. Council watched in silence. History shifted, not with war, but with one voice that was never meant to speak. The species that refused to bow. The chamber did not return to normal. Even after the restraints fell away, no one spoke. The air felt different, heavy, careful. Like everyone understood that something important had just changed. Ethan stood free, but not relaxed. Freedom did not mean safety. The alien council leader stepped forward again. His voice was slower now, less sharp. Human Ethan, he said, your actions have created a problem. Ethan frowned. A problem? He asked. Yes, the leader replied. You did what logic said you should not. Mayra listened closely. The leader continued. You saved an enemy. You accepted chains without resistance. You showed restraint when power was expected. He paused. This behavior cannot be controlled. The room grew tense. Ethan understood now. They were not afraid of human weapons. They were afraid of human choice. Another council member spoke. If this behavior spreads, the voice said, war narratives collapse. Images appeared on the screens again, but this time, not battle footage. Instead, recordings from the ruins played. Ethan standing between Mayra and drones. Ethan lowering his weapon. Ethan surrendering himself. The footage had already spread, across systems. Across species, Mayra's breath caught. People were watching. Lot of people. The council leader turned to Ethan. You have become a symbol, he said. A dangerous one. Ethan crossed his arms. I didn't ask for that. No, the leader replied, but symbols do not ask. The council began to argue among themselves. Voices overlapped. Some demanded punishment. Others demanded silence. A few demanded study. Mayra stepped forward. You cannot erase this, she said firmly. They have seen him. One council member snapped. He is only one human. Ethan looked up. No, he said calmly. I'm not. The room went still. There are billions like me, Ethan continued. Different faces, different worlds, same choice. He took a breath. We are not perfect, he said. But when we see someone fall, we reach. That sentence echoed. The council leader closed his eyes briefly. This is why humanity survives, he said quietly. Not because you are strongest, but because you adapt without losing empathy. The council reached a decision. We will release the human, the leader announced. And we will return the female without punishment. Mayra's knees almost gave out. Ethan let out a breath, but the leader was not finished. In return, he continued, we demand something. Ethan nodded. Say it. The leader looked directly at him. Go back to your people, he said. Tell them what happened here. Ethan frowned. That's it. No, the leader replied. Tell them we are watching. Ethan smiled slightly. They already know, he said. Outside the chamber, the base doors opened. News spread faster than ships. Human networks lit up. Alien forums exploded. Neutral worlds began to talk. For the first time in decades, the word human was not followed by enemy, that it was followed by question. Mayra walked beside Ethan as they were escorted out. Do you know what you did? She asked softly. Ethan shrugged. I helped someone. She shook her head. No, she said. You broke a story. Ethan stopped and looked at her. My people feared yours, she continued. Because you fight hard. She met his eyes. Now they fear you for something worse. Ethan raised an eyebrow. What's that? Mayra smiled faintly. Because you choose who you are, even when it costs you. Above them, ships moved in new formations, not battle lines, observation lines. The galaxy was adjusting, and humanity stood at the center of it, not as conquerors, but as something far more dangerous, a species that refused to bow to fear. The story the galaxy could not forge. Years passed. Wars slowed. Borders shifted. Stories traveled faster than ships. But one story never faded. On a quiet alien world, Mayra stood before a circle of young listeners. The sky above her glowed with soft stars. Peaceful stars. She took a slow breath. Long ago, she began, I was caught in a trap. The children leaned closer. I believed I was about to die, she said. Not because of pain, but because of a human. Some of them gasped. Humans were still feared, still respected, still watched, but the human did not do what I was taught to expect. Mayra continued. She closed her eyes, remembering Ethan's hands, the heat blanket. The way he stood between her and death. He could have walked away, she said. No law would have stopped him. No one would have blamed him. She opened her eyes. He stayed. Across the galaxy, Ethan walked through a human colony market. People recognized him now. Not as a hero, not as a weapon, but as that human, the one who chose mercy. Children whispered when he passed. Is that him, the one from the story? Ethan heard them. He smiled and kept walking. He never liked attention. Back on Myra's world, one child raised a hand. Why, the child asked. Why did he help you? Myra paused. That, she said, is the question that changed everything. She looked up at the stars. When my people studied humans, she continued, they searched for strength, weapons, anger. She shook her head. They missed the truth. The truth was shown in one moment. One decision. Ethan remembered that. Moment 2. Standing alone, surrounded, choosing not to fight. He remembered thinking one simple thought. If I don't help her, then what am I? Myra looked back at the children. Humans are not kind because they are weak, she said. They are kind because they can choose otherwise. That sentence spread. It was quoted in councils, written in records, taught in schools. Human. Ambassadors heard it repeated across systems. A species that can destroy, but chooses not to. Some feared that more than war. Years later, a joint human-alien station orbited a neutral world. Ethan stood beside Myra again. Older now, slower. The galaxy had changed, not because of treaties, but because of doubt about old lies. Myra watched ships from many species dock together. They still fear you, she said quietly. Ethan nodded. Good, he replied. She frowned slightly. Why good? Ethan looked out at the stars. Fear keeps you honest, he said, but understanding keeps you alive. Myra smiled. The first official record of peace talks began that day. Historians argued for years about the turning point. Some said it was politics, some said economics, some said exhaustion. They were all wrong. The turning point was a trap in a forest. A scared girl, a tired man. A choice. Back on Earth, a simple line was added to military training. Not a command. Not an order, a reminder. Power is not what you can do to others. Power is what you choose not to do. Ethan retired quietly. No medals, no statues. He preferred it that way. On his last visit to Myra's world, she gave him a small crystal. Inside it played a recording. Her voice. The galaxy fears humans, the message said, not because they are monsters. A pause, but because even when they could be monsters, they choose to be better. Ethan closed his eyes. The stars burned bright. The story was complete, and somewhere far away, a young alien looked at a human and wondered not what they could destroy, but what they might save.